Welcome to Scotland. Now, there's two parts of Scotland that we can chat about. There was a group of 6 of us that went years ago, and we saw multiple games on the same weekend. But between that and this recording, Aaron and I were lucky enough to win tickets for the Old Firm game. That's Rangers versus Celtic. Now, rather than give you a sort of a boring rundown of what Rangers versus Celtic means, if you're a football fan, you listen to this, you understand Rangers Celtic. You understand how intense that rivalry is, the hatred, etc., etc., etc. If you're not a football person, but you're listening to this, all you need to know about Rangers and Celtic, and this is in a complete nutshell, Rangers are predominantly unionists. They're predominantly Protestant people. Celtic, Irish roots, Republicans, Catholics. That's all you need to know. There is a big difference between the two of them. There is pure and utter hatred between two sets of fans. Now, I'm not boasting about that because you could easily argue that's a bit strange nowadays. But this rivalry is one of the most famous rivalries in football. And when people compile their lists of games to see, Rangers Celtic is normally in the top 2, top 3 easily. And the reason for that is it's the passion, it's the intensity of the crowd, not always the quality on the field. It's the sheer intensity of the crowd. And this is what we had won tickets for. Thankfully, as we approached the game, this was only in April 2022, there was a bit of a title race going on as well. So there was something riding on the game. It wasn't like in years gone by where, one team's so far ahead of the other. Rangers has only recently got back into the Scottish Premier Division. They'd been demoted years ago to the Scottish Third Division, and they'd worked their way back up. But at the time that Aaron and I went, and this was April 2022, there was something riding on the game as well. So if you're a football fan, you understand Rangers Celtic. If you're a non-football fan, it's basically on everyone's bucket list to go and see a game. Whether it's at Rangers or Celtic, it probably makes no difference. It's the intensity of the crowd, of the people, and all of that sort of stuff. But why do I say Glasgow in 2 bits? Well, Glasgow was a city that we'd done a long time ago as well. There was a group of 6 of us that went back in the 2010s. And the reason for that was for the novelty of seeing Rangers play in the Scottish Third Division. They'd been demoted for various reasons. And there was a team in Scottish Third Division at the time called Queen's Park. Queen's Park played at Hampden Park. Hampden Park is the national stadium of Scotland. That's in Glasgow. So there was a Glasgow derby to go and see, but not the kind that you would think. Queen's Park versus Rangers. And that was on a Sunday at midday because it was a derby. But of course that freed up the Saturday. And on the Saturday, we ended up, most of us went to watch, I think it was Celtic play either Motherwell or Hibs. And Celtic could have won the league that day. They didn't. They did win the game, but other results meant they didn't win the league. So that weekend, we'd managed to see Celtic play at Celtic Park, Parkhead. We then saw Queen's Park play Rangers in the Scottish Third Division, of all things. And then we went to see Partick Thistle's ground, I think on the Monday. So we could claim that we'd seen the 4 teams that play in Glasgow. And there was a lot of drinking that weekend and an epic night out at a place called Campus, which is in Glasgow's West End. Just happy memories of the first trip there. Really, really good fun, really good laugh. But fast forward, Glasgow 2022. So when we won tickets for this, and it was like, right, great, don't you think about it. Rangers Celtic, Ibrox, why not? We'd already seen Celtic play at Celtic Park, so didn't really want to do that. We'd been on a stadium tour of Ibrox, but would like to go to a game of Ibrox, at Ibrox. Now, because it's Rangers Celtic is not normally your traditional time because of the animosity between the two, the intensity. These games are normally 12 o'clock kickoff. And this was no different with this game. This was a 12 o'clock kickoff. I believe it was on a Sunday at midday. So again, that freed up the Saturday. Thankfully, on the Saturday, Partick Thistle were playing at home. So Aaron and I went with the intention of, let's go and watch Partick Thistle on the Saturday. Let's go and then watch Rangers on the Sunday. And then we can claim that we've seen all 4 Glasgow teams play at their home ground, Glasgow complete for football. Plus you're going to see the Old Firm game. Great. So that's what we've done. The less that's said about Partick Thistle are both the better. The two best parts of the game was the fact that the food kiosk in the stand in the stadium was called Pie Sports, a bit of a pun on Sky Sports there, and you had a doner kebab pie. Sounds horrible, tastes great. £3, good times, and a bovril as well. Fun times, happy times. But yeah, the less said about Partick Thistle are both the better. 0-0, horrific refereeing decisions. I think someone hit the post at some point, and that was about it. Not good. Now, the best part of that day was actually going to the whiskey bar. And there's a whiskey bar in a church. We went there for evening tipple. And it was, great. Malt of the month. And if you're nice to bar staff, they might give you extras. That's all I can say about that. Before we get into Rangers Celtic, what's there to say about Glasgow? Well, we've been there 3 or 4 times. It's a good city. Loads to see and do. It's the biggest city in Scotland. Not the capital city. That's Edinburgh. Loads to see and do. Loads of museums. Scottish people like a good drink as well, so quite a bit of drinking to be done, to say the least. It's a port city. Shipbuilding was the main part. The main industry in Glasgow back in the day. It's got some really funky museums like the National Piping Centre to do with bagpipes and stuff like that. It's got the Scottish Football Museum. Loads of different areas, Kelvin Grove and the art museums and the galleries in the west side of the city are really, really good to go and see. Loads of students. But this time when Aaron and I went, we went to the Glasgow Botanical Gardens up by the River Kelvin in the west of the city. We had a walk around Kelvin Bridge, Kelvin Grove area, stopped and had a few coffees. I think there's a burger restaurant called Bread Meets Bread. If you're ever in Glasgow, go there. Hands down the best burger I've ever had. It was I think it was a double cheeseburger served in a Krispy Kreme donut. Sounds all sorts of wrong. It tasted all sorts of wrong. Best burger I've ever had. And if you want a cheap lunch, go to Tony Macaroni's because they've got great value pizza there for your lunch times. Loads to see and do in Glasgow. You can have a nice walk around up and down the River Clyde as well. You can have a walk around Glasgow Green. If you want, you can go to the Tennant's Lager Factory in the East End as well. Glasgow Cathedral. You've got stadium tours to go and see. You've got obviously Celtic, Rangers, Hampden Park as well. Just loads of different things to see and do. Very difficult to get bored in Glasgow. And also Glasgow is a very good place for connecting to other parts of Scotland, or most of Scotland. You can get up to the Highlands from there. Obviously you can get very quickly to Edinburgh as well, Stirling, Falkirk, Dundee, Aberdeen, Inverness, etc, etc, etc. If you've never been to Glasgow before, as with last week's episode and most things that we say on here, highly recommend it. Go and do it and enjoy it for what it is. You don't even have to like football to go and enjoy Glasgow. Rangers Celtic. Now, we knew at the time that it was going to be, on paper, a good game. Rangers, I think, were 6 points behind Celtic, maybe, or 3 points behind Celtic, one of the two. A Celtic victory pretty much gives Celtic the league title. A Rangers victory means that, its title race is on. Absolutely. Game on. We knew about the intensity beforehand. Similar things happen in Belfast. Again, we're talking about, Catholics, Protestants, a divide there. It's one of the very few games in the world where it's not just a football rivalry. There's also other big differences as well. When you talk about El Clasico, Real Madrid, Barcelona, I know you've got Catalan ideology, you've got, Franco, you've got Real Madrid, things like that. There's big differences there. So yeah, there are differences in ideologies. River Plate against Boca Juniors in Argentina. Again, it's more, a more cosmopolitan club against a more working class club. They don't like each other. And you look at the big rivalries around Liverpool, Man United, for example. Again, both, with all due respect to both those cities, they're both working class cities. It's just the fact they're 30 miles apart and they've always had disagreements, whether it's music, industry, that sort of stuff. When it comes to Rangers and Celtic, you've then got to add in effect, a religious intolerance, which gives the game itself an extra spice. What I'm not going to do on this podcast, for various reasons, I'm not going to repeat some of the things that we heard chanted in the stadium. The reason for that is that we would probably get booted off Apple and iTunes and podcast formats quite quickly. But needless to say, there were, to put it delicately, there were a lot of remarks, accusations, comments towards Celtic fans about the reliability of priests and what they like to do in their spare time. A lot of comments made about the Catholic Church itself and the goings on in and out of the church. And I'm sure if this game was at Celtic Park, at home of Celtic, there would be lots of remarks about the Union, Great Britain, King William of Orange, so Protestant, and the Queen as well. So I'm sure there'd be, this will work both ways. I'm not going to repeat any of the stuff that we heard. There was a lot of comments that we heard. Some of it we were just laughing at internally because it was so utterly horrific that our natural reaction was to laugh. I got into the ground an hour before kickoff. 11 o'clock on the Sunday morning is a very early time to be in a stadium. We wanted to get there. We were sat in the big triple tier right near the back. There was only 900, I think, Celtic fans allowed in, which was a bit of a shame because back in the day when Rangers play Celtic and vice versa, there's normally thousands of away fans. I think they've had a ticketing dispute over the years or safety disputes over the years. So now the away teams are limited to about 900 tickets, which is a bit of a shame because the atmosphere would have been even better if there was a full set of away fans. Now, we got in at 11 o'clock. All the Celtic fans were already in the stadium. Again, police escorts, all that sort of stuff. You never saw the Celtic fans until they were in the ground. And for 900 of them, I'll hold my hands up, hats off to them, delightful. Really, really good. They created a hell of a noise. Wonderful. Stadium fills up. Rangers come out to The Best by Tina Turner. And 50,000 people singing that in unison is pretty funky, I have to say. You could tell there's a tenseness around the ground. This is big game of football, this, because there's a bit riding on it. Not just bragging rights over your rivals, but as I mentioned earlier, Celtic win this, title's gone. Rangers win this, title race is on. 2 minutes in, 2 or 3 minutes in, balls played down. The Rangers left. Couple of good moves, balls put in, and Aaron Ramsey scores a goal for Rangers. Now, we'll do an episode later on in this series about the noises at football grounds. There's not been many times in my life where I've never heard a noise like it in a football ground. This was one of them. You're 3 minutes in. It's a crucial game. Rangers need to win, really, in order to have hopes of winning the Scottish Premier League title. And Ibrox has gone absolutely potty. There's programmes flying, there's scars flying. I mean, Aaron's off hugging people, in other rows. Guy next to me started hugging me randomly. You're celebrating. It's wild. It is just the start the game needs. Absolutely crackers. My words will not do this justice. I think it's one of the best noises I've ever heard in a football stadium. Just what the game needs. Just what the stadium needs. Early goal, happy days. Ibrox is in party mode. The challenge with that is that party mode lasted for about 2 minutes. Celtic win a free kick. Bit of a defensive cock-up from Rangers. Celtic equalised 1-1. Now, apart from the pocket of Celtic fans, my word, it went quiet. It's gone from absolute jubilation to the tenseness around the stadium. It's quiet. And people are now on edge again. Not good. Celtic looked the better team on the day, I have to say. And they go 2-1 up as well. And that's how the game stays. Finishes 2-1. Celtic are now a fair few points clear of Rangers. They're probably going to win the league. It's a bad afternoon for Rangers fans. A lot of swearing, a lot of comments that I'm not going to repeat throughout the course of the game. Some of them were hilarious, but I'm not going to repeat them here. Again, accusations against various goings on in the church and so forth. And Celtic win 2-1. Their fans are happy. Ibrox is pissed off. Everyone walks out of the stadium. Obviously, Aaron and I have been sat there, in the stadium. We don't have a lot to say. we walk back. It's about a 2.5 mile walk back into the centre of Glasgow. And we walk back, and there's a couple of very brave cars that start beeping down one of the main roads. One of them has a green and white flag in it. Again, very brave. I wouldn't be doing that. Luckily, the light went green for that car, because again, I think they would have been in a lot of danger. I'm not trying to egg that. It looked like they could have been in a lot of danger for celebrating a Celtic victory in the Rangers part of town. This is a sort of intensity we're talking about. Very peligroso, very dangerous. Rangers fans pissed off, and you could tell the atmosphere in Glasgow that evening. It's very muted, very desolate. For a laugh though, there was a late game in the Premier League, and Aaron and I went into O'Neill's around the corner from the hotel. Of course, O'Neill's being an Irish bar, and it was packed full of Celtic fans. They were having a great time. Loads of police and loads of door security, but they were having a great time. They were loving it, all in their Celtic shirts. So we got to see both ends of that. But overall, the game itself, not the best quality game I've ever seen, but it's more to do with that atmosphere. And hands down, one of the best, if not the best atmospheres ever witnessed watching a game of football. And, that's all I can say to that. As I said at the start of the episode, and if you like football and you understand football, you know Celtic Rangers already. If you don't quite like sport, or you don't like football, then my words probably won't do this justice. But it's very high on the bucket list. I'm glad that we've done it. I'm honoured to have gone to an Old Firm game, and that's off the football bucket list. And never heard a noise like that. And it was really good that Rangers scored early. Celtic, overall, better team, deserved to win. They ended up winning the league title in the end. Rangers last season, they ended up winning the Scottish Cup, ended up reaching the final of the Europa League as well. Unfortunately, they lost that on penalties. But that would have been good for British football if they would have won that competition. But that's Glasgow in a nutshell. Next week, we're going to pay homage to the World Cup. World Cup is going to start imminently, Qatar 2022. So next week we're paying homage to the World Cup by going over our wee adventures in Brazil 2014 and focusing on the joyous game that was England versus Costa Rica. As always, we welcome all feedback on this podcast. Please do go over to iTunes or your podcast platform. Leave us a review as well. That helps the podcast, helps to get our podcast out there to more people, more ears, more listeners, and that's what we like. So hopefully you're enjoying this. Please leave us feedback, leave us a review on iTunes as well, and join us next week where we will quickly go over our World Cup experience in Brazil in 2014. Hasta luego.